Hey everyone, welcome to the 12 Respond Show. I'm Sarah Grinelli. This week we're with BankFive branch manager. That's almost tough to get out. Scott Correia, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Regional manager.
Regional manager.
Yes.
Okay, so at your branch, how often are you seeing people walk in who are maybe have fallen victim to a scam and they don't know it yet?
It's daily. It's daily, and it's across our whole footprint. It's multiple times a day, and it's industry-wide. We're seeing just an uptick. It seems like every month it's more and more and more. And this time of the year, it's even more prevalent with the holidays approaching.
It feels like any time there is something prevalent happening in society, right now you mentioned we're at the holiday season, that scammers really target people. What type of scams are we seeing right now?
So everything from non-receiving to where if you're going to buy something online, you're not receiving your product that you're looking for. If you're going to sell something online, you're not receiving your payments. So you're non-payment, you're non-receiving, and then gift card scams are huge as well. Anyway from emails with phishing attempts to just fraudsters posing as consumers or posing as retailers and just really taking advantage of people's money, and not only taking their money but also their personal information as well.
Break down what non-payment scams are for people who aren't too sure.
So non-payment scam, when you're going to sell a product and somebody reaches out to you and either claims that they're abroad or says, hey, I'm going to pay you with a particular payment, but I need you to send me some money back. Just things of that nature where the payment for whatever service or goods that you're providing ends up being fraudulent. So you're sending out your product or your service, but you're not receiving the payment in return. And
what kind of websites could that happen on? I mean, are you on Facebook Marketplace? Are you on eBay? I love eBay.
Yeah, well, the answer is yes to all of them, right? So it can really happen anywhere. So it's important to be diligent to make sure that you're looking for, the HTTPS, before the website, verifying email addresses, and just making sure that you know who you're speaking to before you go ahead and process a transaction on either side, whether you're the retailer or the consumer.
And what about non-delivery? Are you just buying and paying for something and then you're not getting it, or is it even more nefarious? Are they getting a hold of your credit card information, you're not getting your item, and then you're getting charged even more?
Again, yes to all, right? So it does involve where, you'll see these ads for these websites, and a lot of times they're fraudulent, and you're going to purchase a particular item or good, and then you're waiting, and you never receive it. And now not only did you pay for that and you aren't receiving the good, but now your financial information is exposed depending on how you paid for that as well.
And what type of websites are people going on where this happens to? How easy is it to fall victim to this?
It's very easy. We're seeing it every day, right? So anything from, any product that you could really imagine, there's some type of website or some type of fraud, so that's going to cater to whatever it is that you may be interested, whether it's beauty products or really any kind of, it could be, to sit here and list it, we'd need more time on the segment, because it's literally for anything that you can imagine, there's some type of fraud out there for it.
So fraudsters are just ripping off products, putting it up on a different website that's fake, and then they're taking advantage of people's credit card information?
Absolutely.
When people are coming into your branch, what is the confusion over? Did they buy a product that they didn't receive? Are they noticing interesting charges?
So a lot of times, yes, it'll be they bought a product, they haven't received it, or they bought a product and noticed that they were charged multiple times. There's, when you're buying or using something like a Facebook Marketplace or an eBay, any of those types of websites or platforms where you're dealing with somebody, you think that you're speaking to a person who's legitimate, and then unfortunately they're not. So there's a lot of things to look out for. And again, it's important to know exactly who you're talking to and who you're buying from.
I also wanted to talk about auction fraud. What is that? Can you describe that for me?
So auction fraud is something it's not as common as far as what we see, but again, it's just as simple as it sounds, where you're bidding on an item. So whether it be on eBay or another similar platform, you're bidding on an item, you win, and they say, hey, you've won whatever this item is, submit your information to pay for it. you do so, and then you don't receive, you know, what you believe that you won.
There are a lot of those live auction websites or apps that you can go to.
Yes.
How do you know that the product that you're bidding on is legitimate when there is a real person on this live auction on the other side?
So I think, you know, and again, these fraudsters are getting more and more clever by the day. So it's important to, you know, understand what platform you're using when you're doing these types of transactions. You know, making sure you're reading reviews, you're looking up the business to make sure it's legitimate. If you are speaking to a person, you know, if it's through email, you know, if it's too good to be true, odds are it is, right? So just be very vigilant in making sure that you're dealing with, you know, a legitimate business, or the person that you're dealing with. Don't give any information unless you've confirmed that this transaction is going to be legitimate.
And we're talking about these scams. How much money is up for grabs for these scammers, and how much money are people losing?
So just in the non-payment and the non-delivery scams, you're looking, according to the data that was provided on IC3, you're looking at around $785 million just in the past year. And then if you couple that with credit card fraud, you're just under $1 billion in a year. And that's just in fraudulent activity, and that's just in those particular types of fraud. So the money is huge. There's a ton of money that's being lost, and it's affecting people of all, you know, areas, of all generations. Everybody is at risk, so to speak, or maybe not the best way to put it, but fraudsters don't discriminate, right? So everybody has to be diligent and make sure that they're taking the necessary steps to protect their information and to protect their money.
Right. It's like anyone with a debit card, credit card, you're vulnerable to any type of scams.
Exactly.
Is there any stories that you think of people coming into your branch that people would find interesting or shocking that they might have not heard of before?
So with these particular types, I mean, I've seen, if we're talking about the non-payment, I've seen, you know, it's unfortunate, but especially this time of the year, we've seen, you know, Christmas gifts for significant others, or, you know, children where they are promised a date that it's going to come in and it doesn't. I've seen people be victimized and lose thousands of dollars, you know, with these scams too. A lot of times it's not just, you know, one interaction. A lot of times these fraudsters are looking to build rapport and relationships with these people, to where I've seen instances where people are being defrauded out of thousands of dollars by the same person for, you know, months or even sometimes years at a time.
Wow.
And for whatever reason, they just are convinced that, you know, this person is real, and that, you know, whatever the case is on why they're not receiving whatever they're receiving, they're just very good at manipulating people and understanding, you know, how to get their hooks into people, so to speak. So, you know, there's so many, again, another thing where we could have a whole segment of, you know, stories of things that I've heard, from the romance scams to hotel scams to job scams. I've seen people come in where they are looking for a new job, and they, you know, apply through, you know, one of these legitimate websites. They meet somebody, they go through the whole process of, you know, interviewing, and they're told that they got the job, they're going to be paid to relocate, but, oh, we overpaid you, so when you cash that check, send us X amount of dollars back. And the whole thing is a scam, where this person was ready to uproot their life and move and relocate to go and work somewhere, and the entire interaction was fraudulent, all just to get that portion of money sent back for that fraudster to be able to pocket for himself.
And those fraudsters are just preying on people who need work, who want work, who need money to pay their bills, and then their leftover money is also gone.
Unfortunately.
How do you talk to someone when they come in and they've fallen victim to a scam? What is your tactic?
So empathy is the first thing, right? And just making sure that people understand that, you know, it's not your fault, you're the victim here, and that it's not like you were singled out. It's everybody falls victim to these at one point or another. It's, you know, people often come in and they feel ashamed, or they feel like, how did I let this happen? It's not that you let it happen, it's that these fraudsters are unfortunately that skilled at this, and they're taking advantage of people from all different walks of life. So just reassuring that customers that, hey, not only does this happen to everybody, but at BankFive we also have mechanisms in place to make sure that you are protected and that your money is covered. And for the most part, we can help you to not only protect your information for the future, but also depending on the situation. If you're giving your credit card information out, or you're proactively using your debit card or credit card to make fraudulent purchases, it makes it a little bit more difficult to get that money back. But we will do everything that we can to do that and to help you protect your information in the future as well.
All right, great. That's a perfect segue because we're going to head to break. But when we come back, we're definitely going to talk about bank protections because that's so important. We'll be right back.
Awesome.
All right, welcome back. Scott, we left off talking about protections in place for consumers. Before they even make a purchase, let's start there. What should they know about their banking information, whether they're using a debit card versus a credit card?
So protect your information at all costs. If you have the ability to use like a safe way of payment, so like PayPal or Apple Pay, things of that nature, use it. Be very careful of where you're entering your credit or debit card information. If you don't know if a website is legitimate, again, things to look for. Make sure that you're looking at reviews. Make sure you're using the business's actual website. So if you're getting any contact information, don't just Google it, right? As know that we're all accustomed to just saying, hey, I'll Google it, but go on the business's actual website and verify the information there first. And then, again, with websites, make sure that you're verifying the HTTPS in front of the website address. And then with emails too, if you're receiving any emails asking to update account information or anything like that, never click on a link that you weren't expecting. Odds are it's phishing, and you don't want to expose yourself by clicking those links and entering your information there.
You had mentioned safe way payments. Will you describe what that is if you're using Apple Pay or other safer mechanisms?
Yeah, so, for one, using a credit card, and because obviously with a credit card, you're not tying up your physical cash. So that's the easiest and kind of simplest way to make safe payments is to use your credit card. If you do have a service like a PayPal or an Apple Pay, obviously there's mechanisms there to protect your information as well. Again, you want to make sure that you're not providing, any type of login information or things like that to a fraudster. And if you are going to use PayPal, make sure, or any of those payment services, make sure that the links that are attached to whatever website you're using are all legitimate. Again, the more that you can verify and check, the better. And whenever you have a question on something too, call your local bank. So for us, I always tell my customers, if you have a question on something, if you don't already have our phone number, go on BankFive's website. Again, don't Google. Go on BankFive's website, get the contact center information from there, and give us a call. We'd be more than happy to go over, these types of transactions even before they happen to prevent the fraud from happening.
Why is it safer to pay with a credit card versus a debit card?
Well, with the credit card, again, the first, and easiest thing is you're not tying up your cash. So the money that you're working hard for, if you're using a credit card, if there is a fraudulent activity, the credit card companies will generally work with you to credit those purchases back. And now in the meantime, your cash isn't tied up, right? So if you're, if you have your credit cards and you're using it for these types of purchases, it'll allow you to still hang on to your cash and not have that exposed, because that's a little bit harder to, to get back. And then now the credit card has their own security mechanisms in place where they'll be able to help you reverse that charge.
So you recommend for people to predominantly pay with a credit card when you can, if you're shopping online.
Yes.
Or even probably at stores too, I'd assume, if you're thinking of skimmers.
Yes, which is, again, we could spend a whole other segment on that too. Anytime that you're going to, pay for something, right? You think about how hard you work for your money. So anytime you're going to spend money that you've worked hard for, you want to make sure that how you're going to spend it, where you're going to spend it, that you're double checking and you're being cautious on that, because fraud is happening. I mean, again, skimmers, that's a whole other segment of fraud, right? So where you are in front of a person, you're at a store that you would go to all the time, you're doing something like pumping gas, or, you're at your local convenience store, and it just so happened that somebody put something on the machine. And usually it's ATMs that you'll find those on. So just be careful. If you're going to use an ATM, take a second look, make sure it doesn't look like there's something on that machine that doesn't belong. But just, be very careful. And again, contact your local bank, give BankFive a call, use the number from our website, and we'd be more than happy to help in any way.
If someone has been scammed and they walk into your branch, what type of protections are in place if they use their debit card?
So if you are, let's say you have an unauthorized purchase on your account, you didn't provide your credit card information, it wasn't a place that you were at, you're guaranteed to get that money back as long as it was an unauthorized purchase where you didn't use or you didn't provide any of that information. Now, whereas when you were to, let's say, enter your credit card or debit card information into a fraudulent website, now if you're the one who's proactively exposing your information, that makes it a little bit more difficult. There are different, protections and things in place so that we can do what we can to get you your money back, but it's not always a guarantee if you're proactively giving your information out.
So if you had fallen victim to a bank scam or a skimming device scam, there's a possibility you might not get your money back?
Skimming, you will get your money back,
Okay.
right? But if you're, with a lot of times when you're making those fraudulent purchases online, you're manually entering your credit or debit card number into that system. If you're willingly providing your debit card number or your online banking credentials, which again, never give out. I can't emphasize that enough. If anyone ever asks you for your online banking credentials, hang up or don't reply, whatever the communication channel is. But if you're willingly exposing your information, that makes it harder to get your money back.
I see. So you just keep that under lock and key no
Yes.
matter what, unless you can verify where you're giving your information to.
Yes, and it's also important to note that if you do receive any emails or any communication asking for a username, a password, a PIN number, the bank will never, ever ask you for those things. So if you do receive any requests like that, it's fraud. And if you do receive anything like that for any type of website, asking for passwords or things, like that, make sure that you're verifying with them. Give them a call on a number that you found on their website and verify. If you can remember one word from this whole conversation, it's verify. So, and keep your information under lock and key.
If someone's money was stolen from a scammer, how long does it typically take to get back?
So if it's an unauthorized purchase, it's usually within 10 business days. Again, it can go longer than that depending on the circumstance. So every circumstance is different. There's not like a one size fits all when it comes to that. But generally speaking, if it's an unauthorized purchase where you're like, hey, I have no idea where this came from, I didn't use my debit card or credit card anywhere, this purchase just popped up, it's usually within 10 business days that we can get the money back. If it's something where, again, you entered your information into a website, if it's a non-payment or one of those types of scams, then it gets a little trickier depending on the situation.
What's the first thing that people should do? They notice there's money missing from the account, whether they initiate it or not. What do they do?
First thing you should do is call your bank. Call your bank, make sure that it's on a legitimate phone line or a legitimate number that you got from the bank's website or from your statement. Give them a call and speak with them first. If you have the option to lock your debit card or your credit card on your mobile app, so with BankFive, with our card management, you can do all of that right on the mobile app. Do that as well, just so that you protect yourself immediately, where now instantly your card is frozen in case somebody did have access to your physical card or your card information.
Okay, great. We're going to head to break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about your top tips to not falling victim to a scam. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Before we get into Scott's tips on how to avoid being scammed, I want to talk about prepaid gift cards or cards. You had said that is pretty prevalent right now.
Yep. So the gift card scam. So if you're ever asked to pay for something with, a Google Play card or an Apple card or some type of a prepaid gift card, it is a scam. There is no circumstance where somebody's going to say, hey, I'm going to sell you this product or this good, but I need you to pay me in a Google Play card. If that's the case, it's a scam. So never buy any goods with prepaid gift cards unless it's, somebody gives you a Target gift card and you're going to go buy something at Target. Okay. But if you're dealing especially with, online vendors or doing any type of online shopping. If anything asks for a prepaid gift card, it's fraud.
And why do scammers want those prepaid gift cards?
Once they're purchased, you can't get the money back. So
You're done.
You're done. It's a single use code on the card, and once they obtain those funds, that's it. Same thing with doing wire transfers. If you're gonna make a purchase for a gift, don't use a wire transfer, because once that money is wired out, again, very, very difficult to be able to get that money back. Once it's gone, it's gone.
And when we're talking about wire transfers, what kind of items would people be looking at to buy that potentially scammers would be asking for a wire transfer?
So a lot of times that's going to be like a person-to-person sale, where if you're on Facebook Marketplace or another type of selling platform where you're dealing with a person selling a particular product, where they may say, hey, due to the price of this, I want you to wire that money to me. If it's not a trusted source and it's somebody you've never done business with, don't do a wire without really verifying and making sure that you've done all of your due diligence.
And once they have access to a wire, do they have access to your bank account once you give that whole information over, or is it just that money?
No, not necessarily. It'd be just that money, but once that money's wired, it's gone.
Why is it so hard to trace?
Well, with the wire transfers, essentially it's not going through an ACH process. So once that money is sent over into that account, it's essentially just a one and done. So that money goes from this account, it's now wired here to this particular account, and then that fraudster can withdraw those funds. And then, there are ways to track, but a lot of times what will happen is with wire fraud, the account that the money's getting wired into is a fraudulent account. So the information that's on there usually isn't accurate, and it makes it very difficult to be able to catch the fraudster or whoever it is that has that money now.
How hard is it to catch these scammers that are typically usually overseas if they're having shell fraud accounts?
Right.
How many other fake accounts is that money going to?
Exactly. It's I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's as close to impossible as it gets. It's very, very difficult to catch these fraudsters, because as we catch on to one type of fraud, there's 4 or 5 other types of fraud that they're already working on, are already perfecting, right? So again, don't get me wrong. We do an excellent job. We have a lot of safety protocols in place and partners that we work with who we do an excellent job, especially at BankFive, at protecting our customers and protecting their information, and having things in place to where we can catch those fraudulent transactions before they even take place. I can speak from experience where our branch teams have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars, where customers are coming in looking to wire money for a particular service or good, and our bankers have the right to refuse any transaction that seems fraudulent. And we've done, again, hundreds of thousands of dollars that we've saved just from a branch, a banker, or even sometimes tellers being like, hey, this doesn't seem right, getting management involved, and then discovering that, hey, this is in fact a fraudulent interaction, or transaction rather. So again, talk to your bankers. Call your bank. Make sure that you're talking to the professionals who are trained to see these types of things, and we'll be able to help you out and decipher whether or not something is fraudulent.
How often does your bank have to alert the authorities when something fraudulent has happened? Is it those wire cases, or is it every time someone comes in and there is fraud?
It's case by case. So it depends on the severity of the fraud. It depends on the type of transaction, with it can really vary depending on the amount of money that's being, that's at risk, but it really is a case by case thing.
All right, so we have about a minute or so left. What are your top tips that people should watch this show and walk away from when it comes to scams? Because, it's overwhelming and scary.
It is. It is. I'd say the top tips is protect your information at all times. Make sure that you're not clicking any suspicious links through email. Your bank is never going to call you and ask you for your PIN number or online banking information. Never give those items out. Your PIN number and your online banking logins should be yours and yours only. So never give them out. And then just be very cautious and vigilant when you're shopping, especially during the holiday season where everyone is going to be looking for deals. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. don't do it. So just be vigilant, make sure that you're protecting your information, and make sure that you're verifying the sources where you're buying and selling products, and keep your information protected at all times.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming
you.
on, spreading the knowledge of scams. We love to talk about it, but we hate the scammers.
It's true. It's true. I mean, they're keeping the conversations going, but yes, we're happy to help at BankFive, any way that we can to keep you safe. So
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.